Hey kaikki, Richard Metzafantalla, bringing you guys a brand new 2021 album review. And today we're going to be talking about the new album from the band Swallow the Sun entitled Moonflowers, which is out now through Century Media Records. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Swallow the Sun, they're sort of a kind of a doom metal band from Finland. These guys have been around since 2000, and a lot of people would consider them like doom metal, but they also have like death doom and also a little hints of like melodic death metal, but also step into like the gothic and even black metal territory. And these guys pretty much been putting out their albums since their debut album, which came out in 2003, called The Morning Never Came, which is pretty good. I just think Swallow the Sun for me, just they have like that kind of like doominess, that kind of like despair, kind of very bleak atmosphere to their music. So I've been listening to Swallow the Sun for a little over about 6-7 years now, and I've seen Swallow the Sun live once a couple years ago on Children of Bodom's final US tour, and I'm going to see them again on the 27th at the Masquerade with Abigail Williams and Wilderun, so if anybody's going to that, see you there. But anyway, this of course follows up their previous album, which came out in 2019, When a Shadow is Forced into the Light, which I thought was a pretty good album. But this album from Wallflowers, I think is pretty good album. I just think the band really just honed in on their style. Just one thing to know is like the vocals. Like Mikko Kotomäki's vocals has that really just doominess, kind of heaviness and the despair to it, and I just think it's pretty good. The guitar work just also really captures a lot of like that essence of, it even just shows a lot of the emotion, including with the vocals. Juha Ravio and Juho I'm probably butchering their names, so I'll just say the guitarists just really stepped up their game and just come up with some really great riffs. The bass on this album from Matti Honkonen, and really like the bass is pretty audible, and the keyboarding from I'll just say Yanni. Just the keyboards, like I think I've mentioned before, I feel like when bands have keyboard players, I feel like the keyboards also have a lot of melody and also add a lot of like atmosphere and depth to the sound. And the drumming from Yuso just really just keeps the beat. So without further ado, let's just dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is the somewhat title track, Moonflowers Bloom in Misery. Now, this pretty much sets the slow grind of doom in motion with sort of like a delicate intro, and it has a great arpeggiated guitar motif which is layered with strings and stern, and then the clean vocals from Mikko has just become more convincing in terms of the clean vocals with each new Swallow the Sun album. And I think his growls just sound really brutal as ever, and the clean parts just sound really delicate to just another degree. And the beauty of contrast is just crushing thing. And then the chorus kicks in with those really sick guttural vocals and the wall of distortion. It just, ugh. Again, this song it pretty much had me at this point, and I think it's a great way to kick off this album. And moving on to Enemy. Now, this remains into the present day, and it begins with the confrontational fashion, but soon settles into that slow to mid-tempo that the band is comfortable with, and allowing them to lace that sort of like doom death hybrid with some really great emotional melodies. These are more pronounced within the chorus, and the lead guitar melody, I think it's just so fragile that it could break in any second, but it's just really beautiful. And it also kind of reminds me a little bit of like My Dying Bride in there, especially when Mikko talks sort of like about the lyrics being relatively minimalist soundscape with dominated with some synths and strings, and the lyre just playing like an intense part, which is rounding finale to the song. And then we go into Woven into Sorrow. Now, this track just sounds just full of despair, both lyrically and musically, and it touches me deeply, threatening to like raise wounds that I just have spent much this year coming to terms and trying to heal. And it hasn't been an easy listening experience, but make no mistake, like I have no other way, because I feel like this music is just probably the most wonderful kind I have heard so far. And it's just so full of honesty, just rawness, and just everything about it. Next up is Keep Your Heart Safe From Me. Now, this pretty much injects a few new interesting ingredients into the Swallow the Sun sound, including acoustic guitars, lead guitar solos, pronounced synth sounds that together just have like a great construction of a song that hints like a vaguely progressive feel. And it's a very intriguing composition that takes a bit more time to click, but it is just more rewarding when it does. And then we move on to All Hallows Grieve. Now this song features a guest appearance from Cammie Gilbert from the band Oceans of Slumber, and it's a perfect fit. And I feel like Cammie's vocals sound very melancholy and fragile, and her appearance is just a welcome one, which sends shivers down my spine. And when she duets with Miko is just so effortlessly, and it also helps that the melodies are just so beautiful that and almost painful at the same time, which is in a good way. And it's arguably one of the best songs that I've heard so far, and it's just right here. That's just how I had to say. And then we move on to the next song, which is called The Void, which has a really great chorus that features a real grower of a melody or two, and then the acoustic guitars just make a comeback with that delicate intro, which goes into the next song, which is The Fight of Your Life, which is a song I feel like just has like that juxtaposition of like the extreme death doom metal with the elegant string arrangement that just a very onslaught that just delivers like it's just a really great experience. I don't even know what to say about it. And then we close things out with the last song on the album, which is called The House Has No Name. Now this song has some of the black metal elements thrown in there that just nicely echo sort of like that grim atmosphere that has one of the band's most known songs, which is called Labyrinth in Horror Part 5 for 4 from their album Emerald Forest and the Blackbird, which is still one of my favorite albums of theirs. And this song just steers you in the right storm with the clouds just have no silver linings. And it's just, it just gives you chills down by your spine. Now overall, Wallflowers by Swallow the Sun is a really good album. So if I had to give this album a score, I'm going to give the album a solid 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of the album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal. Kitos.